Welcome to the December series. This month, we're tackling leadership skills, shifting gears from the previous months covering more technical professional skills. We'll be talking about capabilities required by leaders regardless of industry or the position you hold in your industry. These are essential soft skills one needs to develop to succeed in any profession where you need to deal with people in complex situations in workplace. Today, we're tackling the concept of difficult discussions, also known as crucial conversations. I'll introduce a very relevant book of the same title a little later in the video. Advanced communication is essentially about handling challenging and complex conversations with colleagues or even people in your personal life. Any challenging conversation with someone close to you or not would fit into these situations. First and foremost, it's about never losing sight of the message to be delivered in conversation, where there is a difficulty to tackle. Of course, approach is very critical. By that, we mean your body language, mannerisms, when you're approaching someone to discuss something difficult. Of course, tied with approach is the tone of voice being used. A steady and stable tone that isn't too loud nor too quiet is a mandatory starting point to avoid exacerbating the situation, especially once the other person is aware of the purpose of the conversation and the topic at hand. Finally, feedback. The conversation must remain a conversation, a back and forth, which allows the other person to give in their 2 cents, keeping an open mind and an open ear to the two-way communication. Of course, this is always meant to be an intimate discussion, not including too many people at once to avoid negative consequences. The less people involved, the better and more effective the discussion would go. The 3 stages involved in this scenario would be being prepared prior to the conversation, handling it with a clear message delivery, and solidifying the conversation by ensuring the message has clearly been sent across by requesting feedback and confirmation. But what exactly constitutes a challenging conversation? Are there particular topics that fall within this category? Or is it about the people involved? It's actually everything. It is an umbrella term whose criteria would simply be outlined as a conversation with the potential for opposing opinions, the possibility for strong emotions to flare up, either during the conversation or post-conversation, and most importantly, high stakes involved. This could be personal stakes involved or outcomes to the topic being discussed. Regardless of whether one or all 3 of these criteria are applicable, it is very important to remember to deliver the message. This is a concept that is clearly defined and discussed deeply in the book Crucial Conversations. I very much recommend the read if you haven't already. Some examples of such difficult conversations would be the delivery of critique, perhaps resolving conflict, a confrontation of some sort, or even highlighting concern over something. One of the most essential skills to be able to navigate these discussions is being open to the other person involved, and, more importantly, having empathy. In a previous video, I had dissected the concept of emotional intelligence. If you haven't seen that video, I will make sure to link it below to be able to review it. Emotional intelligence is not about knowing how to manage your emotions, nor being able to recognize other people's emotions. It's more about self-regulation and relationship management. If you hold that capability of managing a relationship with another person, and by relationship we mean being able to deal with the other person, then that will be an essential catalyst and starting point to effective, crucial conversations. In the midst of a difficult discussion, one needs to recognize what is called the danger point, or the point where emotions start to flare up. We might be losing track or sight of the topic at hand, and we need to make sure that we're steering back to the discussion as objectively as possible. One needs to offer a solution, something practical to the other person, to make sure that they are feeling a little bit more relieved. It's important to deliver the message in the form of a story, something that is relatable, something personal, whether it's a business discussion, a technical discussion, or a personal one. When handling a crucial conversation, such as a critique or delivering feedback, for instance, say in the form of a performance review, it's important to pinpoint details that are relevant from daily life. Identify things that have happened in the past, something particular and specific that one would recognize, and fine-tune what would have worked better in those kinds of scenarios. Details are important to make sure that it's not a blanket conversation, nothing too vague that cannot be worked upon. Following the final stage of receiving feedback, it's important to follow up on the conversation. Perhaps another conversation or a quick feedback session would be applicable here. Most importantly, in these scenarios, it is important to put oneself in another person's shoes. Speak to another person as you'd want to be spoken to yourself. As long as we handle things delicately and with empathy, we would be successful at handling any difficult discussion or crucial conversation in the future.